Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, December 14th, 2020. The time is 11:01 a.m. We're meeting for a weekly commissioner status update. Attending in person, Commissioners Duncan and Fillios. Joining us by phone, Commissioner Bill Brooks. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. We have a number of business items. We'll start off with meeting room 1A, 1B, audio-visual discussion. Leslie?
So I think we still need to pursue this, even if it's not CARES funded, which appears we've passed that bus up. So I guess it will just have to come out of fund balance at this point. But we can't have some of the problems we've had in the past. So.
Amen to that. Nancy, did you want to jump in here?
So, very good communications manager, there we go, Nancy Jones for the record. Commissioners, at this point, what I'd like to do is turn that volume down, is ask the board if we could actually have one more discussion on this next week. Something's come to light that the new on-base system that we are moving over to from paperclip does have some capabilities in this area of integration. And so I'm sharing with Carrie Cole the amount of streaming we do, as well as the current unit we have and the one we're looking at purchasing to see if that would work with it. My initial look, it looks like we would have to purchase a different unit, so I'll check with Josh at EVCO as well, find out if that would be an option. The one concern is it does look like there would be ongoing costs to add the media component to on-base. So we want to look at the initial cost and the ongoing to do that comparison, but I think we could have more information definitely within the next 2 weeks. And since, as you said, the COVID dollars are no longer in play, that gives the board a chance to maybe talk with Nancy Pluff or with Dina, determine a funding source if we want to go forward this fiscal year.
So what I'd like to do then is add it to our pending item list so we can address it each week if we need to. And then that way,
Yes.
we won't have to remember to put it on, it'll just be on. But if there is an action item, then we'll need to know that part of it. But we'll probably just wait for a business meeting.
Right, and that's good too, because then if we do the project, that gives us a chance in the pending to talk about the status as the project goes forward.
Okay. All right.
Got it. Okay, so that's the first item. Second item is the update on the National Academy of Sciences Coeur d'Alene Lake study. As you know, we did contribute $200,000 to the study that, in addition, which was part of the roughly $770,000 total that the state of Idaho is providing to the National Academy of Sciences. I participated in a conference call about 2 weeks ago. There were 5 representatives from NAS. There were probably at least as many from Idaho DEQ. I think there might have been one from EPA. But essentially, they're looking for nominations for people to participate in the study. The study will take 2 years. The scheduled completion is May of 2022. That could be slipped. It could be sooner, could be later, but it'll vary. The first meeting will probably occur, if not this month, next month. They will actually spend 3 hours going through the candidates, and they want to ensure that there's absolutely no conflict of interest. And I have, and I'm going to provide this to you, Madison. Madison's with the press, which is the actual statement of task, what the study's going to entail. I won't go into everything right now, but they'll be evaluating current water quality in the lake and the rivers, consider the impacts of anoxia, which is the absence of oxygen, consider whether reduced levels of zinc entering the lake is going to present a problem, and discuss whether metals currently found will be released into the lake if current trends continue. What this study will not do is actually come out and recommend remedial action at this point. What they're going to be doing is evaluating the data that's been accumulated over some period of time by the tribe to actually come to some determination as to the status of the lake. Any possible remedial action to be proposed would be a subsequent study, okay? And so they're going to be looking for people with certain areas of expertise. I have those here. I won't burden you with everything, but some of them are water quality monitoring and data analysis, environmental engineering, applicable to reducing non-point sources, impacts of mining to water resources, environmental toxicology of metals in freshwater aquatic systems, and it goes on. So I'm going to provide this to Madison to the press so that you have it. And as I said, it's a 2-year study, and they're very, very selective. We will likely be recommending someone.
Yes.
Go right ahead, Leslie.
Jamie Sturgis is our chair for our Natural Resource Advisory Board, and he actually has an MS in ecology. He's done nutrient cycling, metal toxicity, regulatory management, all kinds of things that directly relate him to this position. So I would be happy to nominate him for this committee.
And I would agree. And it's interesting when I listen to the representatives from NAS as to the level of expertise that's required. They cited a very extensive study that was done on dealing with a watershed in New York City. And they only had 3 people who were locals on the committee. The committee was at least a dozen people. Some of them actually came out of the southeastern U.S. simply because they were more familiar with issues that were more relevant to New York City that are commonly experienced in the southeast. So it's anticipated that this will probably be a committee of about 13 people, and they're expected to work approximately 10 to 20 hours per month. And so it'll be quite extensive, and you know what I know, and I'll provide the detail to Madison. Okay, any questions? Thank you.
Since it's an
Go right
action
ahead.
item, can I go ahead and?
Yes,
do
go
that?
right ahead,
So,
please.
Did you want to, Bill?
Oh, Bill, any comments?
No, I'm listening, and I agree with both Leslie and Chris on this one.
Okay. Motion?
I move that we nominate Jamie Sturgis for the NAS committee for the lake study.
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is carried. So Jamie Sturgis we are nominating him to represent Kootenai County on the NAS study. Thank you. Okay, item number 3, management tour, recently purchased Kootenai Electric Co-op building, general discussion. Okay, so I've arranged with Doug Elliott, the CEO of Kootenai Electric, for some of our management team, if you will, or other designates, to tour the building. And that will be, and Nancy Jones will make a public release, if you will, or media release to the employees. And that'll be July 23rd, which is next Wednesday, December. What am I doing? Christmas in the summer, anyway. December
Wishful
23rd.
thinking.
Yeah, right. From 5:30 to, I think it's an hour and a half, 5:30 to 7, I think we set up. And we're going to have to limit it to 30 people so that it's manageable. I will not attend because I've already seen the building, so I'll stand aside so other folks who have not seen it. But Nancy will distribute something, and we'll ask for sign-ups so that we can, in fact, control and make sure we don't exceed the 30 people max. And either Doug or someone with KEC will conduct a tour of the facility. Okay? All right, then. And that was nice of them, even though it was funny when I asked. He said, well, I don't know, you own the building now. So I haven't quite come to that realization. Okay. Okay, advisory board appointments, discussion and possible action item. So let's start with North Idaho Fair Board.
Yes, so we received both from Alexia and from Jerry recommendations, and there are 4 slots, 5 applicants. I'm just going to grab my printed. Of course, it's probably the very last one. Okay, so I don't have a problem supporting their recommendations, which is to reaffirm Joel Dolfeld, Elise Burton, and then appoint new Tim Vols and Miranda Hamilton. There is a position for an alternate, and they recommended Elizabeth Brewer.
Bill, any thoughts, discussion?
No, those would be my choices also.
Fair enough.
All right.
Motion? Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. All right, so for this term for the North Idaho Fair Board, I move that we appoint Elise Burton and Joe Dolfeld, Miranda Hamilton, and Tim Vols, and then alternate would be Elizabeth Brewer.
second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is carried.
Just to note that per statute, the Fair Board has 4-year terms. And the way that it goes, we appointed people last year and this year, so there will be no appointments to the Fair Board for the next 2 years unless there is an opening.
Right, and I did want to point out that one seat was vacated. We had somebody resign, and so therefore that was the 4th opening.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on, second board, aquifer protection.
Yes, once again, there were chair recommendations. However, this is a little bit more stringent by statute. They have to fulfill certain roles. So I don't think I have the 5th name, though. I'll have to look for that because it was a late addition that met the, let's see, what's it called here? District representative. That was the one that we
That's the one we're missing.
Yeah, but we have somebody in that.
It is Jesse Camburn from
Oh.
North Kootenai.
Okay,
North Kootenai Water District?
North Kootenai Water
Okay.
District.
got it.
And that person was requested by the chair to apply and did send that in last week.
Great.
We got
So we have 4 reappointments, which is Bob Haynes, J. Adams, Michelle Johnson, Jim Hudson. They'll all stay in their current designation. And then Jesse Camburn will do the Water District representative.
Okay,
All right.
we can call that a motion, right?
Sure.
Okay, Bill?
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is carried for the appointments to the Aquifer Protection District. Item C, Board of Community Guardians.
This is kind of following suit. There are 4 positions open, and the chair asked for reappointment of Teresa Radford and Carol Ridge, and then the 3 new appointments, which would be Beth Garside, Peter Purrington, and Nancy Jones.
That should have said Nancy Edwards
Oh.
in her email.
Okay.
What's Nancy Edwards?
Okay. Well,
Okay.
there you go.
All right then, any discussion? Bill, you okay?
Yes, that's fine with me.
Motion.
All right, I move that we reappoint Teresa Radford and Carol Ridge, and that we make new appointments for Peter Purrington, Nancy Edwards, and Beth Garside for Board of Community Guardians.
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is carried. Thank you. Item D, Airport Advisory Board. Stephen, did you want to weigh in here?
No, I actually submitted my recommendations to Shawn earlier, or a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Stephen, did your recommendations match what the board silently voted on?
Yes, for the top 3 they did.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Okay then.
All right, then I move that we reappoint Joan Genter, Alex Birch, and Tim Combrick to the Airport Advisory Board.
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is carried for the Airport Advisory Board. Thank you, Stephen. Okay, Natural Resources Advisory Board.
Yes, so we have 2 openings, and the recommendations came as Richard Meyer and David Brown.
Okay.
They both have extensive resource backgrounds.
Fair enough. Bill? Any,
That would be fine with me.
you're okay? Okay. I guess we can call that a motion. Fair enough?
That's a motion.
Okay, so you're seconding?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is carried for the appointments to the Natural Resource Advisory Board, Noxious Weeds Advisory Board.
This one's pretty easy. We have 3 openings and 3 applications, and they're all reapplications. So they all currently serve on the board. So I move that we reappoint Jack Zimmer, Linda Eli, and Lawrence Garcello to the Noxious Weeds Board.
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is carried. Item G, Snowmobile Advisory Board.
Yes, so I did talk to the chair, and he felt that everybody, would serve fine. We've got 2 openings and 3 applications. I would suggest that we reaffirm Al Bouchain. He is very active in snowmobiling, and that we nominate or we approve Thomas Strangeland, who is very active in the snowmobiling. He goes about every weekend during the season, and he is a former deputy, so he's very familiar with everything that goes on out there.
Sounds good to me. Bill, you okay?
Yep, just fine.
Okay. So can we consider that a second?
Yes, that's a second.
Okay, so the motion essentially the motion was made by Commissioner Leslie Duncan, seconded by Bill.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that so we have now affirmed the 2 appointments to the Snowmobile Advisory Board. Final one, Waterways Advisory Board.
Yes, and so this would be for a reappointment of Gary Schmidt and a new appointment of Dawn Warner.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Yep. Any discussion? Bill, you okay?
I'm okay.
Can we consider that a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is carried for the 2 appointments to the Waterways Advisory Board. So that concludes the Advisory Board appointments discussion and action items for this morning.
We'll have 2 more coming up in probably the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
We'll probably put them on for next week, Commissioner, to discuss planning and zoning
Okay.
and historic preservation to determine if there are any interviews needed.
Gotcha. Well, do we have to discuss it, or can we just email you and say who we want to interview?
You could do that, and then if there's any question about that, we could do it in a meeting.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That would be fine, because the meetings themselves will be public, so.
Okay, so we'll go from there. Okay, good. All right then, so the final item, pending items status review, which is a discussion. The first item is the Citizen Advisory Committee. Bill, you've got that on hold until mid-January. Is that still the case?
That's the case.
Okay. Facilities expansion. Leslie, you want to take that?
Sure. So we did our relevant interviews on December 3rd, and there will be another meeting where the architect will talk to the involved departments and try to get a better handle on how much square footage we will actually need for potential of 2 buildings. And we are engaging in conversation about funding options.
Okay. Bill, did you want to add anything to that?
Chris?
Yeah, go right ahead, Shawn.
No.
So I talked to Ken just a little while ago from LCA, and they're going to be sending over a spreadsheet to me, which I will distribute to the group. They're asking for just one person to be on the conference call. The call should take about 30 minutes. They're basically going to go in and just re-verify the information that we gathered on the 3rd. I also had a conversation with him about the contract, because the contract says 1 building, and now, as we know, we're probably looking at 2. So he's going to change the contract and then resend it to me with the possibility of having to do 2 buildings instead of 1. He asked me about a number, and according to the conversations that I've been a part of, I don't see us going anywhere north of $20 million. So he's going to put something in there based off of that number instead of 24, but he is going to increase his percentage from 5.5% to about 7% in order to keep the design fee at just a little over $2 million.
Okay. Which is consistent with the contract, isn't it, Shawn?
It's going to change the contract.
Well,
Or
it will
actually
change
changes.
his percentage on the one building was 5.5% based off of 24 million. Now, if it's going to be two buildings, he's going to have to move that up to get the percentage back to where the amount of money that he needs to do the job.
Okay, yeah.
Buildings is still going to, it's still the same amount of square footage, most likely, but with two buildings, it's still going to cost the same amount of money.
Okay, so it's the same roughly $2 million that they had quoted for the total design effort.
Yes,
The percent-
2,048,600,
Okay.
something like that.
Got it, okay.
So that change is coming, and then when I get it, we can review it. If you guys are fine with it, then I'll send it on to legal. He said he's going to work on it today, so I'm hoping to have it by tomorrow morning.
Okay, so is he asking that only one commissioner participate? Is that it? Did I understand you correctly?
One person
Yeah,
for
or
each department.
if Leslie wants, she could just have Leanna get
Oh, okay,
the
that's
call.
fine.
I'll be sending out an email with the spreadsheets and the times. I'm just going to make a schedule, and then we're just going to stick to it. About 30 minutes. We can do it Thursday morning. It should be pretty easy.
Fair enough. Okay, got it. Okay, PAC Airport lease?
Yeah, Stephen, have you gotten a hold of Wally? Wally was leaving messages. I don't know if you guys connected yet. Maybe Stephen dropped off.
Yeah, he's, okay.
They've been playing phone tag, so I'm still waiting for the two of them to sit down and talk things out, and we'll go from there.
Okay. And then, final item, OEM relocation.
Yep. Shawn,
Ongoing.
how are we doing?
We're doing good. We've got a couple change orders on for tomorrow. One of them is for the Ansel system, which is the hood in the kitchen. Even though we're not going to use it, by code, we have to bring it up to date and have it inspected. So they're on the agenda for tomorrow. I think the other one is some electrical stuff, and then there might be one small one coming. But the main thing is, we have the money in the budget, and we're on track to be done. We have a meeting Wednesday morning, but the plan as of our last meeting was to be done by the 22nd of December and build.
Wow.
Are we on target?
We are, so far.
On schedule, rather.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, good news.
Yeah, believe it or not.
That is
That's
good
all I
news.
have.
Well, I do believe it because you did it before with the jail expansion, so kudos to you.
Thanks.
Okay. Public comment. Hearing none, 11:26, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.